Africa is standing at the edge of a transformation so powerful, so irreversible, and so massive in scale that the world is struggling to understand what is coming. For decades, people have talked about Africa's resources, Africa's minerals, Africa's oil, Africa's gold, Africa's fertile soil. But they forgot to pay attention to something far more valuable, Africa's digital future. And now, for the first time in history, all 54 African nations have agreed on a master plan, a blueprint to build one interconnected digital superpower by the year 2030. The headlines exaggerated as Africa already merged into one digital nation, but the deeper truth is even more impressive. Africa is building the foundations of a unified digital market that will reshape global power forever. Before we go deeper, click the like button so YouTube recommends this voice, your voice of Africa, to audiences across the continent and the diaspora. Let's carry this message far beyond where algorithms expect it to go. This story begins in 2013 when a group of African leaders quietly launched something called the Smart Africa Alliance. At the time, almost nobody paid attention. The world was busy talking about China's rise, America's tech dominance, and Europe's digital regulations. But African leaders had one big idea. If Africa could cooperate on technology the same way Europe cooperated on trade, the continent could build something the world has never seen: a digital market of more than 1.3 billion people. That idea evolved, expanded, and deepened. The African Union later created the Digital Transformation Strategy for Africa 2020 to 2030, an official continental roadmap insisting that Africa must build a digital single market. For many outsiders, this sounded impossible. After all, Africa is huge, diverse, multilingual, with different laws, currencies, and technological levels. How could 54 nations align on something as complex as digital integration? But Africa surprised the world. Country by country, leaders began signing on. Not theoretical promises, not symbolic signatures, real commitments, real policy harmonization, real investment, real digital public infrastructure. This is where the story gets interesting. Today, all 54 African nations are part of the Smart Africa Alliance, or the broader AU digital framework. And for the first time, Africa has a shared continental plan, a detailed, technical, strategic, well-organized master plan that covers everything from data privacy to digital payments, fiber optic connectivity to satellite broadband, cybersecurity to cloud infrastructure, artificial intelligence to digital ID. This is not fiction. This is not social media hype. This is Africa's real roadmap for the next decade. Many people wonder, what does it mean to have a digital single market? In simple terms, it means an African living in Nairobi should be able to digitally access services in Accra, Lagos, Kigali, Johannesburg, Cairo, or Dakar without barriers. It means a business in Tanzania can sell instantly to customers in Ethiopia, Zambia, Somalia, or Gabon without facing broken rules, blocked connections, incompatible laws, or unnecessary border limitations. It means digital identity systems that talk to each other, financial services that work across borders, data that moves safely across the continent, and online markets that treat Africa as one unified economic space. Imagine Amazon, Jumia, Takealot, Alibaba, and local startups all able to reach the entire African market instantly. Imagine mobile money working from Senegal to Kenya, from Rwanda to Ghana, from South Africa to Uganda. Imagine young software developers in Zambia building applications that can be used legally and securely in 20 or 30 countries without rewriting 50 different versions. When a continent of 1.3 billion people becomes digitally unified, it becomes unstoppable. This is what the headline means when it says, African countries merge into one digital superpower. The merger is not political, it is technological, economic, and infrastructural. For the first time in history, Africa is building shared digital laws, shared regulations, shared connectivity, shared markets, shared platforms, and shared digital public infrastructure. The rest of the world is paying attention. Africa's youth population is booming. the youngest, fastest growing workforce on Earth. Africa leads the world in mobile money adoption. African fintech is exploding. Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, Egypt, and Ghana are becoming global tech hubs. Rwanda is building a digital-first economy. Botswana is investing heavily in cybersecurity and digital identity. Morocco and Egypt are becoming North African digital engines. Ethiopia is opening its telecom market. Senegal and Côte d'Ivoire are growing into fintech giants. And now the entire continent is preparing to integrate all this into one digital ecosystem. The timing is perfect. For years, the West and China dominated the digital world. The United States controlled social media, cloud technology, digital platforms, and AI. China built massive data centers, cheap smartphones, and powerful digital infrastructure across the world. Europe tried to shape digital regulation. Meanwhile, Africa watched from the sidelines, dependent on foreign systems and technologies. But something shifted. Africa realized it could not rely on foreign tech giants forever. Data privacy issues were rising. Cybercrime was increasing. Foreign platforms were extracting value from African users while giving little in return. African governments were waking up to the importance of data sovereignty, the idea that Africans must control African data. So Africa chose a new path, build its own digital foundation. This is where the Africa 2030 Masterplan comes in. The African Union, working with Smart Africa, the World Bank, and several technological partners, mapped out a detailed strategy. They set clear goals for 2030. Universal broadband access, affordable smartphones, harmonized digital regulations, interconnected fiber networks, cross-border digital payments, AI innovation hubs, continental cloud services, a unified digital identity framework, secure data centers across regions, and a fully interoperable digital market for all 54 states. It is bold, it is complex, it is ambitious, and it is progressing faster than many expected. The truth is that Africa is not yet a fully merged digital superpower, but by 2030, it very likely will be. And what is happening now is the construction phase, the foundational stage. Think of it like building the world's largest digital highway. The bridges are being built, the tunnels are being dug, the roads are being laid, and very soon the traffic, meaning the economic activity, will flow at a continental scale. But here's the question the world is quietly asking. What happens when Africa becomes digitally unified? The answer is simple. Everything changes. Global companies will no longer treat Africa as 54 separate markets with 54 different challenges. Investors will see one massive market. African startups will scale faster. Cross-border e-commerce will explode. Digital services will grow. Fintech could dominate. Education technology, health technology, agricultural technology, all will expand across borders with unmatched speed. Millions of jobs will be created. New industries will emerge. Africa will build platforms, not just use them. Africa will produce software, not just consume it. Africa will lead in fintech, AI adoption, e-government, digital payments, and mobile platforms. A digital Africa becomes a competitive Africa. A competitive Africa becomes a wealthy Africa. This is why Western analysts are talking about Africa's digital awakening. It is why China is rushing to build data centers across East and West Africa. It is why American companies are investing in African cloud infrastructure. It is why European policymakers are suddenly studying Africa's digital regulations. They see something coming. A continent that will not only leapfrog traditional development, but challenge global digital powers. And the most important part of this story is that Africa is doing it together. For so long, African nations were separated by colonial borders, by languages, by policies that didn't match, by infrastructures that didn't connect. But now technology is breaking that wall. Digital cooperation is becoming the new Pan-Africanism. Not just political unity, but technological and economic unity. The Africa Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA, opened the door for physical trade integration. Now the digital single market strategy is opening the door for digital integration. Together, they form the backbone of a continent ready to stand toe-to-toe with global powers. So what exactly is exposed in Africa's 2030 master plan? Not a secret plot, not a hidden agenda, but a powerful truth the world was not ready to hear. Africa is preparing to compete. Africa is preparing to define its digital destiny. Africa is preparing to lead in the industries of the future. Africa is preparing to protect its data, empower its people, connect its economies, and grow its influence. Your phone, your mobile wallet, your internet connection, your apps, your digital identity. All of these will be part of a continental ecosystem by 2030. That is the digital revolution Africa is building. The next greatest companies may come from Nairobi, Lagos, Kigali, Cape Town, Dakar, or Accra. The next breakthrough in mobile payments may come from Harare or Kampala. The next AI innovation may come from Addis Ababa or Johannesburg. And when they launch, they will have an entire continent as their market from day one. That is the power of a digital superpower. And Africa is building it, piece by piece, policy by policy, connection by connection, nation by nation. This is not just the future of Africa. It is the future of the world. Thank you for watching Voice of Africa. If this story inspired you, click like so YouTube recommends it to more viewers. Share your thoughts in the comments. What should Africa prioritize most in its digital transformation? Your voice matters. This is Voice of Africa. Africa rising, Africa advancing, Africa united in the digital age.